Hey folks, back at FLIGHTLINE. This is the FLIGHTLINE TA-152H. This is actually going to be the fourth time in the air. I had the Maiden and the two flights on that on my hat cam, and where I was sitting and where I was standing versus where the plane was, I cut the plane off many times at the bottom. And yesterday, when I did it yesterday, there was no clouds at all. And I can't focus when on the hat cam, so when you get that plane out on the outside leg, you can't even see it. Can't even see it no matter how much I do, how much I zoom on the, or with the audio or with editing, you can't see it. So none of that footage came out. So technically this is the fourth time in the air. So sorry you missed the Maiden because the footage just was unwatchable. I might be able to put some of it together and feature it, but pretty much this will be the first time on camera. All right, because I got my son filming today, got my son Gabriel, and so like I said, I've already worked out it needed a little bit of up elevator is all it needed, and but not as fast as I thought. I run a 2600 HRB, right, left, up, down, right, left.
Motor hot and will bite.
Okay, and a 5-minute timer run. Like I said, 2600 4S. It's a good flying plane. I thought it was going to be faster than it is, but the biggest thing is it's got such a thin profile. Very easy to lose it as far as camera goes.
Takeoff flaps.
So kind of like flying a wing. You know, when it's going right at you or straight and level, it has such a thin profile. And like all warbirds, you got to get up on that tail and drive your plane.
Flap retracts tucked away.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I need to turn the gyro off. This thing does not need a gyro. Even it's kind of like the Mirage 2000. You put the slightest little bit of gyro and she oscillates on you. Are we going to take it up now? Yeah, it can snap roll like nobody's business. All right, that's outside sticks, inside sticks. This was entered into World War II late in the theater. So had it been introduced a year earlier, it might have had a much bigger impact on the outcome of the war, as far as in, I guess, the European theater.
Time remaining 4 minutes.
You history buffs can correct me if I'm wrong. That's just what I remember hearing about the TA. Now, if you buy the TA now, when it first released, you had to add all the stickers and decals. Well, they've done that now for you, but they exclude the spiral decal that goes on the nose. So you'll have to get some white craft paint or something and put that spiral on it. Okay, we're going to turn right back towards us. All right, turn around here. Very little pressure needed for inverted, just a touch of down elevator. So that means my CG is good for a warbird. I always want your warbird to fly slightly nose heavy.
The gear is down.
With the warbird, especially when you got that big straight wing, you want to be slightly nose heavy. Now I don't mean very strongly nose heavy, just favoring nose heavy. All right, gear is down, obviously. Sounds good in the air. All right, let's
landing flaps.
Get our flaps in. Actually,
Flaps up.
now it does rise with the mix that I've chosen for flaps. But I like that. I like having to hold that elevator in. It gives me a little more control. Now I don't have the flaps in now. I turned the flaps off. There we go. And like all tail draggers, very, very prone to ground looping. I actually Should have landed a little further down, up down the runway, where I'm headed now. Should have landed a little further down, had a longer of a rollout. Because you hit the grass with this, those wheel pants, she's going to tip over very quickly because she sits so high. But you do not need takeoff flaps with this. The way she sits at a upward, forward angle, the way that tail's down, she lifts right up. I don't care how dead calm it is. You don't need takeoff flaps with this. But landing flaps, they can be helpful if you're dead calm. In fact, I might try that this next time, just because. Get on your elevator, on that rudder, and drive your plane.
Retracts tucked away.
All right, take it out and snap roll it again.
Time remaining 2 minutes.
That pilot just threw up all over. He's like, we don't do that! Yeah, kind of a wing over there. See if we can get a tail slide out of it. Oh, there we go. About a 3/4 throttle roll there. Let's do a nice big loop. Nice big traditional loop. Victory roll.
The gear is down. Ready to land.
All right. Come by with the gear. Good flying warbird. Good flying plane. All right.
Landing flaps.
Hope I don't regret
Time
landing.
remaining 1 minute.
I hope I don't regret landing with flaps right now, but we're gonna give it a shot. That's what I was talking about.
Flaps up.
But like I say, you don't, in the wind you don't need flaps. I just want to see how she'd do. Okay, so note to self, flaps only and dead calm. All right, we still got a minute. Let's take her up one more time. Gonna leave the gear down. And just so you know, I don't notice, we'll do one pass of the gear down.
Retracts tucked away.
We'll do one pass of the gear up. Retracts are really fast.
30 seconds. The gear is
Gear
down.
going down.
Ready to land.
All right.
20 seconds.
Here landing, we'll go back to bench. We'll talk all about it. All right, kept her on a runway. Because she sits high. Oh yeah.
Braking.
She's got brakes, which I always forget about. All right.
Motor is asleep.
5 seconds. Let's go back to bench. We'll talk about and go over the rates. All right. We had 5 seconds left on the 5-minute timer. Let's go over CG real quick. CG on the plane is 72 millimeters back from the leading edge root. It's where there's a little angle here in the wing. From there, 72 millimeters back, and there's 2 wheel well holdouts for the hubs fit. Well, the CG point is right behind that. So if you put your fingers in the wheel well, feel for them holes, and then put your fingers on the very back edge of the hole, that's where she'll CG. And I've got the same markings on top of the wings. And when I'm looking for a slight nose heavy. Just slightly kind of favoring nose heavy. And that's what you got. All right, so there's CG. Let's talk about our rates. I got a 7-channel Lemon RX Gen 2, diversity antennas, and My rates that I flew in are 100% throws, 40% expo on aileron, on elevator, and 100% throws, but with 50% expo on the rudder. Flap systems. This has split flaps, so let me tilt the plane. There is no mix needed, but it could use a mix for when you're landing flaps because it does want to balloon a little bit, but I don't like using that. I like letting that come in with a little bit of upward, me having to hold that elevator down, or elevator up just a touch, or actually elevator down just a touch, just so I can hold that landing. And I found that I like that for my own personal choice. If you were going to put a mix, I would put in probably 6% of down elevator with takeoff, with landing. That's just me. But my flap settings are -100 for flaps up,
Takeoff flaps.
0% for takeoff, and then
Landing flaps.
100% for landing. So like I say, if you wanted to put a mix, I'd put 5% or 6% down elevator with that landing flap mix. All right, 2-second deployment on that. We already talked about the rates, talked about CG. The gear are in very, very fast. I've had some very sketchy landings. No problem at all. And the only boo-boo I had is there is a pitot tube that comes out here. It's off in that grass somewhere. Yesterday I hit the grass because I told you how it'll nose over, hit the grass and ripped it right out. And I took it and bid another flight, and I got done with the flight. I'm like, what's that white patch? And I realized that that whole pitot and the piece of plastic that holds it in was gone. Of course, I couldn't find it, so I ordered a new one. It'll be here for long. But there you go. That is the FLIGHTLINE. It is the FLIGHTLINE TA-152H. Now, I kept wanting to say 152H1, but no, it's 152H, and that's it. It's the TA-152. All right, German, I guess the German interceptor fighter. But there you go, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Gabriel, thank you for filming. This is a great plane. This is my one of my our Christmas presents. And God bless y'all. Y'all have a good, and don't forget, faith, family, and friends, and then World War II birds. Bye-bye.